All right, so we've got lecture 2 in the portfolio website project. This is going to be on wireframing and prototyping, but I'm going to give you some ideas about how to put together your portfolio website first, just to get some things thinking. I'll go over these things. Um, I'll go over these things. Um, Again in future ones. So, okay, so going back to the brief. So you should have your examples of 3 commercial websites and have those wireframes done and have those ready for a PDF for me today. And we'll just have multiple submissions on the website, and we'll get that done. And then also by the weekend, I'll get your grading done on the other on the last project. So assignment 2, this is what we're doing now through the weekend. You're going to make 2 portfolio, you're going to do some sketches of what you think your portfolio site is going to be. Now, here's the thing that you might find hard, and this is that, guess what? The marks I'm going to give on this aren't for anything specific. In other words, saying it's like, what exactly do you want? I said, what I want you to have is a good idea. So, what exactly is a good idea? Well, there's nothing specific. In other words, there's nothing concrete. There's nothing, say, it isn't saying, I want two of this here, I want this up here, I want basically what I want you to go and look at portfolio sites and think about what I'm going to talk about in this lecture. Take 2 screenshots of inspiration. Tell me what you think about them. In other words, really just a couple sentences on why you like them. And then basically what I want you to do is that I want you to sketch out using wireframe.cc. I want you to do 2 or 3 sketches of your portfolio site. Consider that you're going to put your logo in it. Consider that you're going to be putting your work in it. So, and you can do, if you want to wireframe more than like a gallery page or something like that, you can do that too. That's fine. So, don't start on the prototype yet. I'll give you a lecture on that on Sunday, and just make sure that you have 2 screenshots of sites that you really liked. Tell me why you liked them, and then do 2 sketches of your portfolio site and on wireframe CC, and take screenshots of those and then get those to me. All right. I just keep the other things there that, just to tell you where we're at, and away we go. So we're getting ready to do a portfolio, and I just kind of want to talk about what I think some essentials on doing a good portfolio are. And actually, believe it or not, my whole family is redoing their portfolios right now as we're doing things. Me, my wife, everything. So this is really something that we've been thinking about a lot. So here's some things that I'm looking at. So we're not going to be doing this, but if you want to do this as your own project and that sort of thing, have your own domain. It's like say like sarahbelushi.com, or there's one of my old students who goes by Tiny Tingu. It's tinytingu.com or something like that. Something that's the one thing that's really, really, really important. And there's a mentor of mine in Chicago. His name's Sergio, and he says one thing that you always want to do is you want to be remembered. So make sure and have a website name that's memorable. So, um, so the thing is that you know, you want to have like a .io, .com, still actually .com is the what is still primarily showing up first in search engines, and this has to do with what they call SEO, or search engine optimization, and so you always want to think about, you know, how to get yourself seen first. So we're not going to do this so much in this class. In other words, this is something that I would, at the moment, go for designing for the web 2, which actually, believe it or not, it's actually a class that exists. And I was supposed to teach it someday, but we've never run it. It's really kind of interesting. So the one thing is that under Wix you can test it out. It'll show. It does have a handheld. It does have a phone preview thing for it. So you can check this out. You may want to figure it out. You know, optimizing your site for mobile, because the thing is that we're dealing with things with your mobile just as much as anything else. And the thing is, if it doesn't work well on a mobile, then you know, if you and your friend are out for dinner and you want to show somebody something, you know, a quick site, and it doesn't come up well on the mobile, well, you know, you might not be reaching as much audience as you want to do. So this is another thing, is that I know that a lot of students just go, oh, this is nice. I said, well, the thing is to tell you the truth, just aesthetics and just saying, oh, this is nice, I hate to say it, it's just not enough. Design is intentional. It isn't just whether something looks good. It needs to work. It needs to function. In other words, it needs to be able to work well on a phone. It needs to navigate well. It needs to do all this sort of things. In other words, basically what happens is that you're a designer, and basically in many ways you're a visual engineer. So you may want to think about that. So see, there you go. See, this is your audience. You know, this is somebody on a phone, somebody on a tablet, somebody on here. And the thing is that I'm going to suggest that in Wix you at least test each of these out. Okay, great. Think about, we may or may not be doing this with our portfolios, but think about a newsletter sign-up form, because of the fact that if you're trying to build an audience, the one thing is this is something called, you always want to have a call to action. Basically, the idea of getting your visitors to be engaged with your content. One of those things is to ask them to go onto a mailing list. Yeah, you got to definitely have an easy way for your visitors to sign up. And the thing is that if they're interested in your stuff, you know, you want to be able to get back to them. So hopefully you can automate this, and it could hook into your mailing service. Actually, I use MailChimp.com, and I'm currently working on trying to get it integrated into my site that I'm building on Wix myself. So there you go. There's your sign-up stuff. High quality images. All right. This is usually the biggest mistake that I have with any student. The issue is that sometimes you just think just any image will work. What you need to have is something at 72 dots per inch, at the size you really want to use it, and be really intentional on building this thing. I mean, not just taking any image. Because what happens is that browsers are stupid. I mean, really, they are really bloody dumb. What happens is that if you have a image that's too big, or an image too small, is that your browser basically has to resize it, and in resizing it, it's kind of almost doing like Photoshop does with trying to smooth out pixels or try to put things, and it just doesn't work out really well. So use good stuff. So, you know what I mean? Okay, this is a exaggeration, right? But come on, people, really. I mean, this I've almost gotten that bad. Contact information. So, I mean, I realize with this group and that sort of thing, you may or may not want people contacting you, but what happens is that if you're looking at getting business, almost every single page, you need to have some way for somebody to contact you or go to your social media or whatnot. Maybe not on your homepage, but just about everything underneath. You want to be able to basically have your door open to get contacted, to do some work, or have somebody buy your art or something. There you go. So number 6, super, super, super important. Organize your artwork into like really reasonably sized collections. In other words, have like maybe no more than 5 or 6 on a page. And then when you're in your gallery site, have like a nice little thumbnail, title, a brief description, and then have that click into your album. Actually, the thing is, we got this this information from a gallerist who used to work at one of the big galleries at Ouster Hall Avenue, and this is the one thing she was saying that so many artists just don't do. In other words, they're either doing too little or too much information, and it's just really the matter of just be clear, have a good introductory image with some information in the title, and then have it go into an album. So there we go. That's nice. Halas, right? Okay, cool. Okay. Make sharing artwork easy. So the thing is that each artwork ought to have its own web address. Basically, the thing is that your visitors can copy and share, through text messages or whatever. Because the thing is that we want to be able for people to access and communicate about your work as frictionlessly as possible, because that's going towards your being more popular. The one thing is that also, back on the high quality image stuff, the reason why I say use only as big as you want, because of the fact that a way to protect your work is not to put your completely high resolution stuff on there. Is the fact that if somebody has a screen level, a screen size image, they won't be able to print it or anything that's worth anything. So, you're kind of protecting your own work, but also on the other hand, by being able to share those low res those, I'd say, screen resolution images, you're encouraging people to engage with your work, which is really important. And then, by the way, I'm really kind of talking about artists, but the thing is that graphic designers, your ability to design a good, interesting page, super important. Animators, the one thing that I am really shocked at most of the time with animators is the fact that they really do not take this stuff seriously. They don't really take the idea of a web portfolio seriously. The thing is that it's a lot more crucial than you think. And so what happens is that to say, oh, well, it is an animation. But the whole thing is that this is the documentation of all your work processes, and it's also a gallery for all the animation that you're doing. So your demo reels, everything. So that's really, really important. So Number 8, use really clean, clear, and consistent design. Keep your navigation the same. And the thing is that really what happens is that unless you're a graphic designer and you're really looking at doing something experimental, remember Huda, who did the really interesting layout, with the notebook. The thing is that just remember what you're trying to communicate. Remember what you're trying to sell. Remember what your client engagement is. So, make sure that you're intentional about everything. I mean, the thing is that what usually happens is that if you're doing something and you're not being intentional on it, in part of your design, 99% of the time, it's really obvious to me. Like just blindly just using stock fonts, a template, something like that. In other words, is that a lot of these things are really, really, really obvious. So be clear, consistent, and have like really simple, easy to use navigation. Remember that your design, artwork is the most important thing, and just use easy text-based navigation menus. See, there you go. Okay, so really clean, straightforward, good stuff. Okay. This might seem kind of strange, but keep all your stuff up to date. And this is something that I'm really terrible at. My website, patricklichty.com, is 3 years old, and this is the reason why I'm getting it up to date. And this is actually the reason why I'm using Wix, because I used to write all my own code, and to tell you the truth, I just don't have time to do it anymore. So I'm basically redesigning my site with Wix, and I'm just basically just going to put up some new fresh things, and I'm just basically not going to worry about putting my entire history on it, and I'll just put some new fresh things up on it and just populate it as time goes on. So that being said, what I'm talking about is that if you've got a painting and if you sold it, either say it's sold or take it off the site. If you've got some awards, put it up there. You really want to talk about yourself, because actually a lot of times awards bring awards. If you're putting an exhibit, update your bio, put things in your blog. If you're not doing a workshop anymore, take it off the site. If the exhibit's passed, either put on the site or document it as being in your past. So, and the other thing is that keep things up to date, because people wonder whether you stopped doing stuff, 10 years ago. Not in your case, because of the fact that, wondering whether you stopped being an artist or designer, at 12, 13. So that's kind of silly. Anyway, that's that. So if your website's not up to date, visitors are they're gonna look at you funny. See, that's it. My great website, established 1998, and we're not going to talk about that. Okay, assignment 2. I'm not sure whether I'm going to do a. I might do a movie about this. I'm not sure. We'll see. So make 2 wireframes of your portfolio site, and then also I just want to see that you've been going around and looking at other portfolio sites, and make 2 screenshots of websites that you've been looking at. And then the thing is that I want 2 screenshots of your portfolio sketch that you made with Wireframe CC. Okay, so here's what I'm working on. No, actually, here are 2 websites I found inspiring. So this is Amit Sharma, photography, really some good stuff. Indian. And this is actually the first of 2 pages. This is Chantel Martin. She's a New York artist. But the one thing is, if you notice, up here, there's the menu, and then there's a thing that that just takes you to her work. That takes you to a really interesting second page. Look at that. So it just says work, new, and work, home, news, info, and basically just some new things and how to buy some of her stuff. So here's some stuff that I took away from this. You want to be simple. You want to be really intentional as to what you're, and I mean, I'm not saying literally sell, but what you're trying to communicate. You want to be direct. You want to basically have your material and just say, look, here we go. Here's your stuff. You just want to be very clear that if you're an animator, you want to get some animations out. If you're an artist, you want to make sure that you communicate clearly and that you have nice, moderate-sized galleries with good information, and that there's no lack of clarity in what your user is going to see. Functional aesthetics, in other words, and this has to do with the next one on there, don't put anything on the page without a reason. The idea of saying, what's that doing on the page? Is, oh, it looks nice. I said, well, does it do anything? No. And I said, get it off the page then. Because really, to tell you the truth, you don't want to have anything on that page that doesn't serve a purpose. In other words, if it's something that's definitely setting a mood or something like that, or framing the piece, you want to be totally and utterly intentional about what you're doing. So just remember what you're trying to show me and show me that. And that's it. So in the website, a lot of times in a portfolio website, there's usually only 4, maybe 5 things. I've got 5 or 6 because I've been doing this 30 years. So, I'm a little older. I have a lot of things on my CV. So, usually a link to your homepage, basically a link to your galleries, some sort of description of yourself, CVs, biographies, whatever, and then your contact page. Understand that although I was talking about having contact information on every page, you're going to have a main contact information that has more detail, but on each page you'll probably have some area which can take you to the contact page, or just have a little email icon, and that can take you just to sending you an email. So there's lots of ways you can do this. So this is actually the wireframe for the site that I'm doing right now. You can see right here I've got my website name, Patrick Gupti, artist, writer, curator. I've got that Kufik Farsi logo that I have, that Nagini made for me, and then I have down here all this stuff down here on the menu. Right in the middle, I'm working on this new project using artificial intelligence. Boom, it's right there. That's my new favorite project. That's what it is. And then the thing is that over here in the menu to the left, I've got galleries, and that'll bring things in. And I'm trying to keep things in a very manageable sort of size. On the right, I've got a search icon and a cart because I'm thinking of trying to sell some prints. And down on the bottom, you see 3 little boxes down there, and that's actually my social media stuff. And I'm thinking of also putting a a copyright in my footer, and that's that. Let's take a look at what it looks like, what my mock-up looks like. So this will be what your stuff in Photoshop will look like next time. But this is what I want this time. So there you go. As I said, there's my stuff. There's my logo. There's the menu. There's a little place for the cart. There's the hero image, all ready to go. So, so that's basically what I have to say for today. Over the weekend, I want you to make sure to do some research on. I want you to do research on looking at artist portfolios or designers or whatever. Take a couple screenshots, put them in a PDF. Do 2 wireframes that you think might be interesting for, and then, I mean, really, to tell you the truth, I mean, if you just kind of like slap something together, I'm gonna notice this. It's gonna reflect in your marks. Try to really think about it, okay? And then give me your wireframes, and then I'll take a look at those, and then we'll talk about things on Sunday. And then I'll have you start putting together mock-ups of your homepage. Okay. Anyway, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for being patient during this first week. I think we're doing really well, and we will keep going. All right. Thanks a lot.